Hello everyone and welcome to Callsign Charlie Models. It is time for another inbox review, and today we have something a little bit different. We have the Hobby Boss Russian Navy SSGN Oscar II class Kursk cruise missile submarine. SSGN means guided nuclear missile submarine. The Oscar is the kind of the smaller version of the Typhoon. I wouldn't say smaller version, but kind of a different class, but does really the same type of mission that the Typhoon would do. This is an absolute monster of a submarine. Right here we have some nice box art on the front with the missile hatches coming open for the Oscar right here, and then we have some side profiles of it on the side and a nice little history about the K-141 Kursk right here, which sank in the Barents Sea on August 12th of 2000. I do remember the news coming out about the Kursk as well. And then on the other side we have the top profile of the Kursk right here. And then we open it up, and there's not going to be much to this kit because it is a submarine. I just built my first submarine a couple weeks ago, and I will say that it was pretty fun. It was a nice, quick, easy build, not too intricate to go into. I built the Russian Akula submarine, and it was, like I said, a lot of fun. It was a learning experience. I did learn that for my future submarines, that white line that goes down it, I'm going to paint that on. I am not going to use the decals for that because that is the one blemish of that entire kit, is that white stripe decal. I could not get it to go on straight. But moving on to this kit, we do have some nice plastic and everything. I'm going to get everything set off to the side so we can start going through all the instructions, the decals, and then all the plastic. So give me 1 second and I'll be right back. Alright, so starting off with the instructions, we have the typical Hobby Boss black and white kind of booklet, but this one is only 3 pages long. There's not much to it, even though for a submarine this is probably the highest part count I've ever seen for a submarine. We have the typical description and the legend of symbols, and then how to apply decals on the front. And then we open it up, we have our sprue callouts starting out right here. Then after that we are starting with our actual missile tubes right here, getting those all attached on that. I did find some aftermarket replacements for this that should be coming in the mail tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully we'll get those in, because that has the missile tubes and also this little bulkhead right here and the hatches all in 3D printed resin, which should add an extra level of detail to this kit. Alright, then after those missile tubes are done, we are getting those attached to the upper hull right here, and then we're going to flip it around, attach it to the lower hull, and then we have a couple of odds and ends to add onto our lower fuselage right here, then our tailplane going on, and then our 2 propellers going on there as well. We do have the option of having this in plastic or photo etch, and also I did have in that set that I ordered has some 3D printed propellers as well. Alright, and then all that's done, so now we're going to add in our hatches. We can cut these little parts if we're going to have the hatches closed, and we can also cut them so that way they open up separately, or we can have them all in one solid open piece right there. We're also going to be working on the superstructure right here, getting that all done. We have the option of having our antennas and masts on the up or down right here, and then getting that all on, and then we have our bow planes and a couple other pieces going on as well. Then we have the basic stand, the typical stand for the Hobby Boss submarines right there. So not much to the build of this. And then we have our color callouts right here. Not many colors. We have tire black, hull red, gold, and flat white for our colors. Right here, just typical black and red scheme. A lot of this is going to come down to the weathering of this kit on that. So again, really looks this kit is going to be huge. For a 1/350th submarine, this is going to be huge. The box was about 18 inches long, and I think the kit total is about 16 or 17 inches. Alright, so starting off, we have our standard Hobby Boss photo etch / trumpeter photo etch. Feels a decent thickness. We do have a couple little pieces here, and then we have our propellers, and then the nameplate for our stand right there. That. Alright, so up next we have our waterline mark decals. Not much decals going on with not many decals going on with the submarines, but luckily this one doesn't have the white line, so we're actually going to have to paint the white line on this one. We do have a few crests to go with this one as well, so again, very nice. They feel pretty thin on that, so those should go down pretty well. Then we have our standard stand for the submarine. I'm going to be doing a wood block stand for mine, but I will be using this as basically a paint stand when I'm building it. Alright, so up next we have our missile tubes right here. We get a total of 4 of these sprues right here. So you have our tubes going on, and then we also have our missiles going on. The missiles do look pretty nice. They are one piece. So those shouldn't be an issue. And then on the inside of the tubes, we do have ejector pin marks on the inside of the tube. So if you are going to have those opened up without a missile, I don't know how much of that you're going to be able to see. But we also have the caps for our tubes as well on that. So you can have the tubes opened or closed with the missiles inside loaded or not. Alright, moving on to our upper hull right here. The detail on it does look very nice. We have some nice panel line detail going on all through here. And then our connection point for our superstructure. And then going all the way down the spine, we do have a lot of nice detail molded into this kit. It does have a grainy feel to the plastic. Also, I'm not sure if that's a panel line or... Yeah, okay, that's a panel line right there. But yeah, the detail on this one actually does look very nice. We have our hole for our bow planes right here. I do believe, if I remember in the instructions, you can have those pivot in and out on the build. So you can have them on the surface, like if it was floating on the surface, those would be in, and those wouldn't deploy until the submarine submerged. Alright, up next we have the lower hull of the Oscar. Not much detail going on here. We have the vents right here for our ballast going on, and then we have some more panel lining right here. And everything, I mean, the detail looks pretty nice. And when you get the two halves together, just to give you a size reference, I'm not going to get this like 100% perfect on the assembly. I mean, for a submarine, this thing is absolutely massive. I'm going to zoom out so you can see a little bit better. But let's see. This is... I don't have my ruler or my tape measure anywhere nearby, of course. So doing a quick measure. This is just under 18 inches in length for a 1/350th scale submarine. So that gives you how big this thing is right here. Again, gonna take a little bit of sanding, and we'll have to see how it all goes together. Alright, so up next we have the back walls for our missile tubes right here. Not much detail. We get 2 of these sprues right here, but hopefully these fit in fairly easily on that. And this is also with the aftermarket 3D printed set I got off of eBay. This part is also going to be replaced with one of those parts in that kit. Alright, then our last sprue is with our superstructure and our propellers and all that going on. The detail, we do have the option of having the antennas up or down with this one. Again, very nicely done for the panel lines and everything on that. Our propellers also, they do look rather thick, especially for 1350. Those do look really thick. So luckily the aftermarket ones are 3D printed and super thin, so those should be a nice replacement for this, because I really don't like using photo etch propellers. And then we have all the other odds and ends going on here. And then we have our superstructure molded in one piece, minus the cap that's going to go on top. And again, some really nice panel lining and everything going on there as well. So again, not a lot going on. We flip it over to the other side for our missile doors. There's a little bit of detail on the inside, not much to it. Definitely, if you're going to use these parts, cut these so you can have the doors open at different levels on that. But yeah, not seeing any ejector pin marks on any areas that are going to be an issue, except for this radar dome right here. You have this giant piece nub that's coming off that you're going to have to cut off and then sand off to kind of get that to work again. I can't tell if this is one of the missiles that in the flight mode right here. We do also have one torpedo right there as well. Alright, so that's everything for the Hobby Boss 1/350th scale Russian Navy SSGN Oscar II Kursk cruise missile submarine. The submarine, the detail on it looks very nice. There are a few detail issues with some of the doors and such going on. The propellers, they do feel really thick, but you do have the photo etch option right there. Or also, if you want to go onto eBay, just search 1/350th Oscar, and you'll be able to find those aftermarket sets I found on eBay. And the price wasn't too bad. I think it was like 13 or 14 bucks if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% positive, but I know it was a decent price for what you get. But yeah, so this kit, I'm really looking forward to getting into this. Looks like it's going to be another quick build to do, maybe a weekend or a week total to get this done. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into this one here in the near future. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this inbox review, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future videos. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. You stay frosty and happy modeling.